385,000 babies will be born today, and over the course of a week, over 2 million babies will be born. Over the course of a month, over 10 million, and in the course of 10 years, over 1 billion babies will be born. You will only know a handful, history remembers a fraction, but one baby's birth stands out amongst them all. One baby's birth which is still recognised 2,000 years on and is celebrated by billions of people today. A baby's name we all know, the birth of Jesus, which we look at every Christmas. Why is it that we remember this one baby so clearly? Because it's a fairy tale. You know, we love fantastical stories, perhaps that's what you think. Or it's a legend that's just grown bigger and bigger as the years have gone on. Perhaps you know your stuff and you think, look Jake, we haven't always celebrated Christmas, but it's something the Christians put on the 25th of December to cover up another ancient festival. And you know, in one sense, you're kind of right. The first official record of it was around 300 AD when the Roman Empire became a Christian state. And they did change it from another festival they were celebrating, but that's because they found this one man Jesus to be that special, that amazing. And there are great minds all over the world today who will be celebrating this one baby. They'll look to him not as a fairy story, but as a true story. And that is because this baby, though he looked like every other baby, actually would grow up to show that he is something else altogether. History speaks loudly of this baby. Jesus is more attested to in history than any other ancient figure. And whilst Jesus was alive, amongst many of the things he did was he taught, and he only taught for 3 years, yet his teachings have swept the earth and they've revolutionized the way we see each other in the West today. World-renowned historian Tom Holland traced back where the ethics that we so dearly love in the West today came from, and he found that they found their roots with Jesus of Nazareth in the 1st century AD.
And I've come to the conclusion that in almost all the essentials, myself, my friends, the society in which I live in, the whole of the West, is so saturated in Christian assumptions that it's almost impossible to kind of remove ourselves from them. If the West is a goldfish bowl, then essentially the water that we swim in is Christianity.
Much of the progression of the West owes its foundation to Jesus. After all, it was churches that established hospitals and universities. It was from Christian teaching that the abolishment of the slave trade occurred. Even the rise of science owes its foundation to Christianity.
At the rise of science in the 16th and 17th centuries, Alfred North Whitehead and many others commented that men became scientific because they expected law in nature, and they expected law in nature because they believed in a lawgiver. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not ashamed of being both a scientist and a Christian, because arguably Christianity gave me my subject.
This baby really is like none other, and this baby is remembered and celebrated today because of the amazing things he's done and is doing. But the reason why some people will celebrate him and others will mock and laugh is because this baby grew up to say something very controversial. Jesus grew up to say he wasn't just another baby in history, another number, but he said he's the one who started all of history. Jesus said he was God, the one behind the beginnings of time and space. Now, I know what you're going to be thinking, okay? This is getting ridiculous now, I'm out. But just wait a minute. Can you think of anyone else in our history who has achieved so much good to the level of Jesus, so much progress to the level of Jesus, and yet at the same time been absolutely insane? Because that's what we're saying. If we don't believe Jesus' claim to be God, then we're saying he is horrifically narcissistic, but at the same time, incredibly selfless, because Jesus loved the lowest and the least in society. And we're also saying, if we don't believe his claim to be God, that he is a complete loon, he is crazy. But at the same time, he taught such deep, profound truths that it would hit home with human hearts to the point where it would transform the Roman Empire and eventually would progress to the place where we are now in the West in 2022. The effect Jesus has had on our world is huge. And it makes sense if he is God. And it makes sense because if he's God, he's our creator and he knows how the human heart functions and works the best. And so we will thrive off what he says. And we have thrived off what Jesus has said. So what do you make of this baby? Billions of people around the world this Christmas will gather together and they will look to him and believe that he is not just another number, but they will believe that he is God come into humanity, that he is Emmanuel.